How do you know when zeal is righteous and when it is misguided? Hi, this is Barry Phillips with 10-Minute Torah, day number 3 of Torah portion Pinchas. We've been discussing this man's zeal and how that he acted powerfully, taking a spear, pursuing those that were leading in sin in the camp, slew them in the tent, and thus ended a plague that had already taken the lives of 24,000 men. In Bamidbar, or Numbers chapter number 26, and verse number 1, we read the phrase, when the plague ended. There is coming a point in time when all of this disastrous stuff that is taking place in our day, as disastrous as it was in Pinchas's day, that it comes to a conclusion. Is it because someone acts decisively with great zeal that produces righteousness? Unfortunately, what we have seen to this point oftentimes has been misguided zeal. Now we're needing to see the zeal of Yah to consume us so that we respond righteously. How do we know the difference? Let's consider what is said in the book of Micah, chapter number 2, verses 12 and 13. I shall certainly gather all of you, O Yaakov. I shall bring together the remnant of Israel, put them together like sheep of the fold, like a flock in the midst of their pasture, they being noisy because of men. Verse 13 says, the breach maker, ha-peretz, the breach maker shall go up before them. They shall break out and pass through the gate and go out by it, and their sovereign, their king, shall pass before them with Yahweh at their head. So there is a role that is played by one called the breach maker. Hebrew again here is ha-peretz, one who creates a breach in the wall or the fold that confines us because the king is about to pass by. Now, if we are likened to be sheep, one would also be able to make the analogy that the king also is a shepherd, similar to David, who was a shepherd and was promoted then to be king. Yeshua is the good shepherd, he said, but he is also our king. So our king, who knows how to lead his sheep like a shepherd, is ready to pass by. Ha-peretz, the breach maker, opens up the gate so that the sheep can follow after him as Yah leads on at the head. Pinchas, as a matter of fact, was indeed a breach maker. The people had been confined under a series of disastrous events, of rebellion, of antagonisms, of chiding of Moshe, of challenging authority. Balaam and Balak has tried to curse and to overwhelm Israel, and now the Midianite and Moabite women have acted seductively and treacherously to bring sin into the camp so that judgment may fall upon it, and judgment fell indeed. Thankfully, before the judgment could wipe out the nation, Pinchas acted with zeal and opened up a breach in that which was confined to them so that they could see their king. Now, let's explain more about this. If we go over to Matthew chapter number 11 and read verses 10 through 14, we will begin to see Yeshua describe the ministry of Yochanan the Immerser, aka John the Baptist. It was Yochanan who was ha-peretz, the breach maker. He is the one who announced, behold the Lamb of Elohim who takes away the sins of the world. Yochanan was not looking for a crowd to follow after him, but rather he introduced the king and encouraged the people to follow after Yeshua, he himself saying, I must decrease that he may increase. Yeshua says that if you are willing to accept it, in verse 14, he says he is Eliyahu who is to come. Two things stand out here. One is that Yeshua seems to be saying that there is some sense of equality connection, some vital connection between Yochanan and Eliyahu. Now, there are some deep rabbinical circles that will talk about a soul of one passing to the other. I'm not going there. But then, nonetheless, there is an anointing, there is a spirit, there is an authority that was upon Eliyahu that was also resident upon Yochanan. Rabbinical tradition says that the garments, the talit, if you will, the hairy camel hair talit of Eliyahu was stored and kept at the right-hand side of the altar of incense. Yochanan's father, Zechariah, went in to offer up incense when he was given the prophecy about his son's birth. Is it possible that those garments then were given to his son? In 2 Kings, chapter 1, verse number 8, it says that Elijah, was girded with a leather girdle, and that he was a hairy man. When we read Matthew 3, verse 1 through 4, we will find that Yochanan is very similarly described. So was he not only walking in the spirit and the power of Eliyahu, but perhaps even walking under the mantle, the clothing, the garments of Eliyahu the prophet? Interesting. Possible. So then we go a little bit further and understand that, again, rabbinical thought equates Pinchas with Eliyahu. Also in the Midrash, and if for those that are so willing to read, in the Zohar, you will find, again, statements that are equating Pinchas and Eliyahu, both of them being breach makers, though both of them acting zealously and putting to flight those that are into idolatry and revealing the true heart, character, and authority of Yah, their sovereign. So if Pinchas is equated with Eliyahu, and Eliyahu is equated with Yochanan, then it would stand to reason that Pinchas is related or connected to Yochanan. In other words, if A equals B and B equals C, then A equals C. What I'm trying to say is that the same spirit of power and authority and anointing are upon all three of these men, and they all act similarly. That is, they're breach makers. They are opening up and liberating through the actions of their zeal and their passion for the Most High. They're liberating those that have been confined, that have been restricted. How that is so needed in our day. You can call it quarantines, you can call it lockdowns, you can call it a stay-at-home order, you can say it's the best action for everybody involved. You can talk about the restrictions of what you can wear and what you must wear now in public, etc. For those of us that have enjoyed personal liberties for all of our lives, this is a hard pill to swallow. But beyond lockdowns and stay-at-home orders, etc., there has been religious confinement, spiritual confinement. Where is the power to heal? Where is the anointing to prophesy? Where is the ability to preach the word of Elohim and conviction fall upon a congregation? Where is the anointing to discern and to speak a word of wisdom or knowledge? It would seem that we're lacking so much and that we're under a sense of confinement and limitation and restriction. We need the breach makers to rise up in their anointing and in their power to open up the way for us to find our King and to follow after him. Shall it be said in our day that the pagans are more zealous for the lies of their false idols than Am Israel is for Yahweh, for his Torah, and for his Messiah? Let it not be so. May it be that those men and women who are a haparetz, a breach maker, would say, it's not about me, but let me point you to him. Pass by, King Yeshua, and lead your flock. We'll talk to you more tomorrow. Until then, shalom.